Once a cop, let it knock, yeah. For one thing, we should celebrate redemption instead of condemning it. Corey Pegues, what up? Talking truth, bruh. Check it out. Once a cop.
Pull up a seat. You're now in Corey's Corner, where right conversations matter. I'm your host, Corey Pegues, and I always keep it right, not real. Our guest today is Eric Sanders, Esquire, founder and president of the Sanders Firm PC, a nationally respected civil rights law firm dedicated to fighting sexual harassment, police misconduct, and workplace discrimination, and to protecting whistleblowers and victims of abuse of power. A former NYPD officer turned civil rights attorney, Eric Sanders brings a rare and powerful perspective to the fight for justice, one shaped by firsthand experience inside the system and a relentless commitment to accountability. He is a sought-after subject matter expert on police use of force, civil rights, and employment law, with appearances on CBS, CNN, NBC, ABC, and Fox, just to name a few, as well as the features in New York Times, the Washington Post, New York Post, and the New York Daily News. Eric has successfully litigated high-profile cases, recovering millions of dollars for victims of injustice, and regularly serves as a panelist and speaker at Columbia University, St. John's Law School, and national legal symposiums, addressing issues such as racial profiling, workplace harassment, and civil rights. His work has earned him the NAACP Keeper of the Flame Award, the St. John's Law BLSA Alumni Award, and the You Can Go to College Committee Humanitarian Award. He is fighting for justice, accountability, systematic change, because your rights matter. Please welcome my brother, Eric Sanders, Esquire.
Thank you.
You like that?
Hey, that sounds pretty good.
That's good.
Who's that guy?
You can hire me. I do all your intros. I do all your intros.
That sounds good.
Yeah, man. Thanks for coming on, man. I'm really happy that you're here. We've been waiting for you for a while.
Okay.
Before we jump into our segment, this episode of Corey's Corner is proudly sponsored by Vodka, the smooth fusion of vodka and tequila that's taken the city by storm. Vodka, sip different. Much respect to Corrupt Mob MC, one of the strongest motorcycle clubs out here representing brotherhood, community, and real loyalty. We appreciate the support and salute the entire Corrupt Mob family. Respect them all. Let's get into it.
All right.
Let's start at the beginning. Before the badge and before the bar. Not the drinking bar, the bar exam. Tell us about your family. What values were instilled in you growing up that still guide you how you are today?
Well, my family, father's from, well, now, God rest his soul, he's passed away. He's from South Carolina. My mom's from North Carolina. My family's from the South. And actually, I grew up in Queens. In this area, actually. I went to Andrew Jackson High School, believe it or not.
Yes. AJ, we can.
The Hickories,
Because
you know you can.
we know we can.
That's right. Dr. Evelyn Jones-Rich.
Oh, God, yes. My principal, yes.
That's right. I remember
Wow.
she came in.
All the AJ alumni, y'all hear this, right? I know all the AJ, Super Mario, Crystal Brown, everybody's listening to this AJ alumni.
Oh,
I
Crystal
love it.
Brown? Oh, man, I haven't heard of her in a long time.
She was just on. She was
Oh,
on
yeah?
Corey's Corner, too. Her episode is
Oh,
dropping
yeah?
next week.
Oh, yeah?
Yes.
Wow, I haven't seen that
Dr.
yet.
Crystal Brown now.
Oh, that's good.
Yes.
Wow.
Miss
See?
Jackson, 11th grade and 12th grade.
Yeah, wow. See, it's a small world.
Yes.
So anyway, when I was a kid growing up, I've seen a lot of things. And the one thing is work ethic, right? When I was a little kid, my father worked for the Housing Authority. When we actually lived in Edgemere. When I became a police officer, I worked in the 101. So I worked there as a kid with my father. So I used to, tile floors and take the big machines and, do the plumbing, all that stuff. So I believe in work ethic, all right, and doing the right thing by people. Like you hear people say, well, he'll never take anything. Nope. I'd rather be dead than dishonor my name, dishonor Black people in general. And I'm not here to destroy anyone's reputation unless they deserve it.
Right. Well, I think you kind of answered the next question. It was you're a product of your environment. What was the neighborhood you grew up like, and how did it shape your worldview and around authority, fairness, and community?
Well, it's interesting because in Brooklyn, when I first grew up, I lived on Manningham Street. And I lived in the 8-3. So I lived on
Okay.
Manningham Street between Wilson and Knickerbocker. So it's
8-3 precinct all
different.
day.
Yeah, so it was so different. So it's black, a lot of Hispanic. So, I got to see a diverse group of people, right?
Right.
And there was still Jewish people in that area. So, then we went to Rockaway. And then back then, the projects were different. The Edgemere side was on the more rough side, and then the Auburn side was more quiet, the working class. You couldn't walk on the grass and all these different things. So as I was growing up, I played sports, baseball, had scholarships in baseball, football,
Mm.
growing up until I was in college. And I got to see that you have people that do things that not necessarily good, because look, I can tell you people that I grew up with in the football team that are no longer here.
Right.
Like Rodney Pratt and these other guys. I've
Uh-huh.
seen all that stuff. Shorty Black. So I know them
Wow,
all.
right. Pratt, my man. God
Yeah,
bless. Shorty
yeah,
Black just passed away.
yeah. Shorty Black.
He j-
Really?
yeah, Shorty Black
I
just
remember
died
Shorty
from
Black.
he just died from cancer.
Really?
Yeah, about a year and a half ago. That was my big brother.
Yeah. I used
And
to see him in
Pratt,
school all the time. He used to
yeah,
wear his vest and stuff. I said, "What the
yeah.
hell are these guys doing here? Holy shit!"
I
I
remember Shorty
survived all that
Black. I
stuff.
remember Shorty Black being on the bus, the Q3A, on the back of the bus with two girls in his arms, and I'm sitting there saying, "Yo, I want to be that. Who is this guy right here?"
Yeah.
Shorty Black. God bless Shorty
Yeah.
Black,
I haven't
man. Yeah,
seen him in a
he
long
just
time.
passed away.
Really?
Yeah,
I used
about
to
a
see
year
him as
and
a
a half
police
ago.
officer. He said, "Oh man, what's up? E, you on the job now?"
Yeah,
I was on the foot post on 71st and Continental. He's like, "What?"
yeah.
Yeah, Caesar, Emilio Caesar. So I
See,
seen all these guys.
yeah.
And and people
See,
lives
still
took
around.
different paths.
Yeah.
Ralph Horsham.
Yeah.
I haven't seen some of these guys in a long time, but
But C's and
yeah,
Shorty Black was like this with
yeah, I
Mike
remember.
Tyson.
I remember.
You see
Yeah,
the fights with Mike, and you
yeah,
see them
I
walking
remember.
Mike
I
to
remember.
the
Yeah.
ring,
So
right?
then Moose. I mean, all those guys.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, well, you see Flashy looks good, but I said, no, I think I should go this way.
Right.
And and then of course people had different challenges in life.
Mm-hmm.
So now I said, okay, I decided to go to military college
Mm-hmm.
after I left Andrew Jackson.
Right.
But that's my only regret in life, is that I didn't finish the ROTC, because I was a Marine ROTC. I
Okay.
wanted to fly jets,
Right.
off a carrier, so I wanted to fly F-18s. So
Okay.
that's one of the things that, I kind of didn't
Mm-hmm.
follow through on. But then I decided, my next door neighbor was William Perry. He worked for the police department. And when I came back, I was working on
William
Wall
Perry
Street.
that died at 9/11?
No, not that guy.
You
He
know
was
him.
I know who you're talking about. That's the
Okay.
guy who was in the academy you're talking about.
Yeah, in the county.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about William Perry. He was a deputy commissioner.
Okay.
So I used to see his car. I said, wow, this is unmarked car all the time. Then find out he's like a deputy commissioner of community affairs right next door to me. So I
Right.
said, I was on Wall Street. I said, maybe I'll do the police department.
Yeah.
That's how I wound up in the police department.
Wow. Okay. So let's take us back to high school, Andrew Jackson High School. So my story is one of the reasons I became a cop is I don't know if you remember, there was a black cop assigned to Andrew Jackson High School. He had an afro. I don't know his name,
Mhm.
but he would always talk to me because I was in the street. I was coming to school with big gold chains and money and fucking guns and just crazy, just acting crazy. He was like, yo.
He say, you see how you know that? I was always in class. I didn't know what the hell was
You
going
didn't know what was going
on.
on. So he kind of like gave me a little nudge to like change my life. Who were you back then, and were there a coach, a teacher, or a moment that helped steer you toward policing?
Well, it's funny, since you talking about policing, since my father worked for the housing authority when I was a kid, I knew housing cops. That's before pre-merger.
All
So I
right.
knew Wade Williams. You remember Wade Williams?
Yes.
Yeah, I knew him when he's a police
The
officer.
merger, what he's talking
Right.
about, audiences, prior to 1996.
96.
In New York City, there was 3 different police departments: housing, transit, and NYPD. And Giuliani, it was under Giuliani.
He merged them.
Came in and merged the 3.
Yep, under Bratton, because they pushed out DeForest Taylor because he was the chief in housing. He was against it.
Yes.
And that's how they merged all 3 departments. But I knew him as a cop. Nappy. There's a bunch of them I knew. And I remember seeing them with some guy drunk, falling on the floor, and they pulled a gun out of his pocket. I said, holy shit, I was a kid. I was, what the hell is going on here? And that was it. And then that's my first contact with the police. And then I remember the 101 car was then they had the big Plymouth Fury, the blue and white cars when they
Yeah.
first started getting them.
Right.
And I remember the 101 Frank. I remember that to this day.
101 Frank,
And
the
that is
sector,
Frank.
you
That's
remember.
Frank's sector. Yeah, because and you know when I became a cop, I started working Eddie Frank George. And Frank is covers the projects.
Wow,
From
yes.
35th from 32nd Street to 49th Street.
Listen, y'all don't even understand. This is police talking police lingo that we'll never forget. When I was a cop in Astoria, Queens, the 114 precinct, I covered Queensbridge, and my sector was Sector Nora. So you never forget this stuff. And this is 35, 40 years later, and we still remember what sector you was assigned to.
That's right. So that's my first experience. And then when I didn't have any real contact with the police when it was in Jackson.
Right.
But then the coach was different. Bantam was there. Bantam and then Chuck Granby.
Chuck
He's
Granby,
a basketball
God
coach.
bless. Legend.
Yep.
Chuck Granby, legend, legend.
They turned out some good, excellent players.
Oh, yes. Robert Cornegy.
That's right.
Boo Harvey.
That's right.
Doug Edwards. Doug Harris.
That's right.
Legends.
Yes.
Legends.
That's
I
right.
gotta get, hey Boo, if you listening, you know I'm gonna need you to come on the podcast too. Okay. Boo Harvey was when he was in St. John's University, starting point guard, one of the top guards in the nation.
I remember.
A good friend of mine. He used to give me and my man Romeo the keys to his apartment in Jamaica Estates, and we used to go there and like bring people there and act like we lived in the apartment. We'd take him and Mike Porter's pictures off the wall, like we lived there.
I'm trying to remember that St. John's player that was there at the time, but during that same time period. Me and my partner was handling a job. We were flown to the 107. He actually got in an accident, DWI.
Right.
And we gave him a slide. And didn't arrest
Was
him.
it Walter Berry?
Not Walter Berry.
Malik Sealy.
Malik Sealy.
Malik Sealy, God bless the day. Oh, he died in a car accident too.
See? That's
in Minnesota.
That's what I'm talking about.
He played for the Minnesota
You
Timberwolves.
know
I
what?
don't know if he was DWI, but he died in a horrific car accident.
You know where the
in
Van Wyck
Minnesota.
goes left? I mean, it goes the Grand Central go left, and the Van Wyck goes right. That
Yes.
fork by over there that's the 112 in that
Yeah.
area. That's where he got in the accident. He got in the overpass where you get off on Parsons.
Yes.
He was drunk, and my partner said, "Yo, Eric, man, that's Malik Sealy." And Lou Conseca was the coach.
Yes,
and he said,
absolutely.
"Yo, he's past his curfew." I said,
Yeah.
"Okay, this is how this is gonna go. Nobody's out here but you." So it's a car accident. And we gave him a sign that he went pro after that.
Yes, he went.
Yeah.
So
Malik Sealy.
it's funny you bring that up. So let me tell you, I was in the Army. I did 4 years in Fort Drum, New York, upstate. Came out and went into the National Guard. So I was a weekend warrior. You know, once a month we do the 2 days, right?
And then 2 weeks in the
summertime. So we on our 2-day up at Camp Smith in Peekskill. There's a party in Queens. Me and 2 guys sneak off, come to the Queens to go. I'm a cop now. I think I'm a sergeant. I'm a cop or a regular. I think I was a cop or a sergeant. We come down to Queens, go to this party. We're drinking. We're all drunk. Like, I'm like a sergeant or a cop. My man Lamont is a correction officer. He got a brand new BMW. As fate will have it, that same turn from the Van Wyck to the Grand Central.
Especially if it gets wet. It's bad.
We flip over. My man Jerry's in the back of the car.
Wow.
We flip over upside down. The car ends upside down. I'm suspended in air, me and Lamont.
Wow.
With seatbelts. I pop my seatbelt, fall down to the ground. He pops his seatbelt, fall down to the ground. Jerry is gone. Guess where Jerry was at? On the other side of the Van Wyck.
Yeah, got thrown out, right?
My man Lamont is a correction officer for like 7 years. Got locked up. Did 1 year in the same jail.
Wow.
Lamont, you probably don't want me to tell his story, but it's all good. He hasn't had a drink since that day, and it's been like 20 something years.
Yeah.
So let's talk. You began your career in the NYPD as an officer before becoming a civil rights attorney. What moment or realization sparked that transition, and how did it reshape your view of justice?
That's a good question.
Yeah, the producer. It's not me, the producer.
I never had a goal to become a lawyer. I have this thing about changing jobs every few years. You know why? Because I had all these different things I was interested in.
Right.
Like I said, I want to fly, so I'll just fly. I
Uh-huh.
mean, I've been pretty fortunate that everything I've tried, I was really good at it.
So you're a pilot too? It's no way I got another pilot on the show.
I started, but I need to complete it. I could have been flying Airbus all over the world. No,
Yeah.
I decided to save the world.
So Winston Faison was on here. Clyde Vanell was on here. He flies, and now you talk about you want to fly.
But
I don't know no black people want to fly planes, but y'all 3 people.
But you know what's interesting? Willie Gary. He's a lawyer. He's got like 5 planes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's big.
Willie Gary. Yeah. He's in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Yes.
He got 5 planes.
5.
See, I want to be like these pilots. I could be a lawyer and fly my own jet.
Okay.
So yeah.
Crazy, man.
I just decided to be a lawyer out of nowhere, really. No, but what really sparked it was actually being a delegate of the Guardians Association.
I forgot you was the I thought you was the president.
No, I was a delegate.
Okay.
And then I moved on and became the first vice president and then the president. But I was talking about this police corruption stuff from day one. I was fighting them out of the academy.
And this is the 80s. Late 80s.
88 I came in.
Right.
And during the crack era, I was fighting all this corruption.
So you was in the Guardians with Eric Adams.
Eric was in the Transit Guardians.
He was in the Transit. You was in NYPD.
Right. He's the first vice president of the Transit Guardians when I was the first vice president of the NYPD Guardians.
Okay. Well, we know that he ain't the same Eric that he is today.
Oh, no.
I don't even know what he is today. I don't even know what he looked like.
He's somewhere having a Tito's and a cranberry or something.
No, he's not having it. He's smoking a cigar.
Oh, that's right. He's doing that now.
Drinking Hennessy, 2:00 in the morning in a barbershop. That's what he said.
Oh, yeah.
He went from fighting for civil rights to smoking cigars and drinking Hennessy in barbershops, and as the mayor.
See, but when you when you start to play footsie with them, that's when you get stuck. As long as you don't play footsie with them, you can fight. When you start playing footsie, then they got you. You play footsie with them.
So, how does your firsthand experience?
So, since you asked me about the Guardians, I'll tell you what made me interested is I saw police corruption. I used to fight police corruption all the time, including getting fights with cops out in the street and everything. Tell them, you see us come around, I don't want to see nobody push me against the wall, nothing.
Right.
That's how me and my partners roll. I always had black partners.
Right.
But we weren't dancing and shuffling for nobody.
Now, see, I'm glad you said that because there's a lot of people, they don't understand. Like, I always say, when I made captain, I was the one. From me to Ziegler, it was 25 executives. Like, when you came with, it wasn't a lot of black cops.
No way. No, it's mostly white. This is like a 90% white.
Yes, male white dominated profession.
Exactly.
That's why Chief Jaffe, the female white,
yeah.
She was mean and nasty. I worked for her.
Yeah, she was housing.
She was very nasty.
All right.
But I understand why she was. This was a male white dominated police force in the NYPD.
Oh yeah.
And they didn't even forget black people. They wasn't even giving women a chance.
No, they don't.
They dogged her, but in the NYPD, you pass the test, you gotta get promoted.
Right.
But she was mean and nasty, and I was like, she was taking it all out on me. Taking it out on me.
But even when I at the Guardians, what I used to see is things that were interesting, like the gang database. I knew about that. I talked about that when it first came out. The hair test, I talked about that back in '93. There are all these things. I said, why are we putting up with this stuff?
Right.
So then I became the president. Then I bowed out. They went after me because I started talking about the money. I said, what's up with the books, man? It's fucking book money. What the hell's going on here? Of course, they try to crucify me, but they couldn't do shit with me anyway because, look, I was the intellectual.
Right.
But they tried to do the thug stuff for me, but I was the intellectual thug, so they couldn't run me off. I said, you know what? I'm going back to school. And I went back to school, and then I said, I think I want to go to law school. That's how I did it. I think I want to go to law school.
Okay.
And that's how I started.
All right. So as someone who wore the badge, what do officers often get wrong about civil rights attorneys like you?
They take it as you are doing something wrong when they don't understand that you have to have people like me to try to regulate the system. Because unfortunately, the training you go through, they seem to believe, and a lot of officers believe things that they do is necessary to follow the law. You do realize you're actually violating someone's rights. You just can't just do these things.
Right.
It matters because you think it may not matter to you because you're doing it. But remember, your family members and people, they're all part of society too. What happened? How would you feel it was done to them?
Right. You know what amazes me? Like most cops don't even know Terry versus Ohio. They don't even understand that. Like, so Terry versus Ohio is a 1968 Supreme Court case,
Yeah.
which is the stop, question, and frisk law of the land. Not just NYPD. You know, there's a lot of people think NYPD started stop, question, and frisk.
Yeah.
I don't have to tell you that.
No.
You do know that. But Boise, Idaho, everybody has that right that if criminality is afoot, reasonable suspicion, you could stop and question. The frisk is not automatic.
No, it's not.
I mean, I'm not the lawyer. He's the lawyer.
It's
He'll
not
correct me when I'm
Right,
wrong.
right.
It's not automatic, but if you fill the bulge, then you can go. But most cops don't even know.
Yeah, they don't.
I asked them Terry versus Ohio. That's like probably the most important law that you should know as a police officer.
Yeah. Actually, there was I have a case involving a state trooper that was arrested, and that very thing. They said, "Oh, we stopped him." I said, "What basis?" Because you know, in the 14050, it's only any felony or misdemeanor defined under the penal law.
Right.
Having a plaque is an unclassified misdemeanor.
Right.
Guess what? You can't stop anyone for that. You just violated his rights.
Right.
Like, what's the matter with you guys?
Most cops don't even know the law.
They're scary.
Yes, they willy nilly. I'm sorry, cops, but I got.
But they don't take it. They don't take it seriously. That's the problem. I said you'll be protected as long as you follow the policy.
Right.
You're good. Don't worry about it. Follow the policy.
I had to take it serious because I'm with Diddy Bop. Remember, I had the cornrows.
Yeah.
I'm coming here talking hip hop, so I needed to make sure I knew
hip hop.
Yeah.
Oh man, you know what I said? When I worked in a 101 as a rookie, I had a Wrangler Sahara. I had the top off, had a 400-watt amp under the seat, and a kickbox speaker in the back, blasting NWA "Fuck the Police" as I'm riding around the corner, pulling up to the 101. So now I know exactly what you're talking about.
So you know,
but they couldn't do shit to me because I knew my stuff well.
Right.
And one of those people used to read the patrol guide and make the hand changes.
Yes.
That's the kind of person I am. Always been that way.
I love it. I love it.
They hated it.
Yes. You've litigated high-profile cases and recovered millions for victims. In civil rights works, what does winning truly mean to you?
What does winning mean? Some vindication. The problem is you never really recover. So money can never replace having your rights violated. It just can't. I have a famous case happen right here in the 113, and I sued cops in the 113 after I was assigned here. By the way, if people didn't know.
Yes, he was a cop, and we're actually Corey's Corner is taped in the 113 precinct. So I know you was a cop in the 113.
Yeah, and this was the Larry Jackson case. Anyway, the verdict turned out to be $15 million, almost $16 million, and it was me against 4 lawyers in the city. And what they did is they beat him up like Rodney King, and he called the police for help. They beat the hell out of this guy. At one point, there was
that was the case on Farmers Boulevard.
It was on 118 and Foch.
Yes,
Yeah,
I remember that case.
And it was a whole thing. They said he was drunk. Crystal Johnson was the CO at that point.
Okay.
And they said he beat people up. He was drunk. Meanwhile, my clients
that was at a party or something, right?
His own barbecue.
His own barbecue.
And the guys came in and had guns in their waistbands. He talked them away.
You got $15 million for that case?
Yeah. So you can look it up. They couldn't believe it.
Case.
So the case took about 2 weeks.
That's it?
It was a firm, Pamela Chen. It was supposed to take 2 weeks, but only took a week and a day. So, and they had some law students from China there. And said, well, Mr. Sander, you're doing a very good job. So when it closed, I said to the jury, I said, look at these 3 things. And when you look at these 3 things, you'll have your verdict. So the first thing that came in was, we want those 3 things. Then the next thing that came in was, we're going to order lunch. Then after lunch, they said, we want to know how much to pay Mr. Jackson. And then Pamela Chen was the district judge. She looked at it. She's like, I said, oh, Larry, this is going to be big. By the time she finished, it was $12 million plus $3 million some odd for punitive damages.
Right.
The cops had to pay themselves $400,000 to do the captain, everything. But I mean, he didn't want to go to appeal,
right? So
they settled for $5 million. We walked away with $5 million.
Wow!
And that's still the highest verdict in the United States for a person that's still alive. Because remember, a lot of these cases are death cases.
Right.
He's still alive, and it's the only one by a black lawyer and a solo practitioner. It's in New York Magazine and everything. But they won't give me credit because I don't dance and
We
shuffle
giving
for people. But you know
we
what the
giving
hell.
you credit on Corey's corner. We giving you credit
But
on
yeah,
Corey's
but
corner.
he's still in win because you're
Right.
still forever
You
traumatized by what happened.
traumatized. Yes.
So yeah, so winning looks like nothing.
So, in your experience, what are the biggest barriers victims face when deciding whether to come forward against powerful institutions?
Not aware of how the system works. That's the biggest thing. You know, the one thing about lawyers, I don't, and by the way, I don't associate with lawyers. I only associate with them to handle cases.
Right.
I don't go no CLEs live. I do them on screen. I don't go hanging out with them
You don't go
drinking.
to that on the Black Lawyers thing in Bahamas. What's the name of that?
Absolutely not.
You
I
don't
don't do
go to
no
that?
National Bar Association,
Right.
Metropolitan Black Bar, so I don't do none of that. You know
Mm.
why? It's all like the Guardians, all hang out bullshit. I
Yeah.
don't do any of that stuff. I'm a businessman.
You just get
You know,
money.
I like no. You see how I came? I showed up, right? I'm like
Yes.
a regular guy. You wouldn't know what I do.
No, I mean get money by like helping
Yeah, I like
victims.
helping the people. I
Right.
don't care all about that. Oh, I'm a lawyer and I'm not
Yeah.
like that. I'm like a regular guy from the neighborhood.
Right.
So the biggest thing is that people don't understand the system. Lawyers try to hide the ball, which is why I write so much and give free information
Mhm.
because information is power. People forget that the lawyer's not the boss. You're the boss. And the
Right.
lawyers that try to help you to navigate the legal problem that you have. So no.
By the way, so he's a prolific writer. Tell the people your Twitter handle right now before we. What's your Twitter handle?
Esquire_Sanders, I believe it is.
Yeah.
See, I don't really follow.
Follow him on Twitter. He's constantly putting out information. So if you uninformed and you want information,
It's free.
it's free. He's putting out information. I can't even keep up. You texting me like 8 times a day, and I'm saying, damn, I only can read like 2 or 3 cases because I'm so busy.
No,
But you're putting the information out there for the people
yes.
right on Twitter. It's free. Just go follow him, Esquire_Sanders.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
It's free information.
And I do it because I think that lawyers and people that get educated, this is my philosophy now. I think if you get education, right, bachelor's, master's, your goal is to the greater good. I'm a utilitarian by trade.
Mhm.
So you're supposed to use it to help others, not just yourself, not for riches. The riches is not in the money. The richness is helping other people.
Right.
That's always been my philosophy as a kid. And I'm continued as a lawyer. That's
I
why
love
you
it.
never hear me talk about, oh, he's a lawyer. They'll say, what does he do? Oh, no, I just help people, whatever. That's what I
Mhm.
say.
Right.
Nothing else.
I love it. So for complete transparency, you were my lawyer when I sued Nassau County Police Department also.
Oh, man, I think about that case all the time. You know what? If I had to do it over again, I would have taken a different approach. Defamation is hard to prove, and the
Yes.
New York Post too. The New York,
Yeah, the New York Post, right.
the mouthpiece for the NYPD.
But you
So,
know what?
you know,
Listen.
but retaliation is a different way to go about it now. If you see, I wrote about that recently.
Yes, you
Good
wrote
guy
about
letters
that
and all
recently.
that. That's the way to go after it.
It's all good, but the good thing for me, you represented me. I remember you calling me and saying, like they keep, you know, the deal is we dealing with them. They got an unlimited budget. You know, like, yeah, we just gonna keep going to court, keep coming to court. And I remember you calling me saying, you want to keep going at them? And it was like, for me, peace of mind. Like, I was like, yo, E, man, drop this. I don't know. The easiest thing in New York is to get a gun. Like, we're fighting really like to
right.
get a gun.
Right.
Like, that's it. I could go in any corner. We could go outside down the block right now and I could buy a gun.
But now with the Supreme Court, you don't need all that anymore. All that is going out the window.
All that's going out the window.
Well,
Exactly.
You know who learned that the hard way? Sarah Palin. She spent all this money suing the New York Times. Her case just recently got suspended a 3rd time. She had to spend a couple $1 million on that.
Yes.
Defamation is going to get thrown out just about every time.
Right.
Until they change that Sullivan versus New York Times case,
Uh-huh.
it's a waste of time for defamation.
Another case he just told you to look at. Knowledge. He's dropping knowledge on the Corey's corner. Okay. Can you share a case or a client story that reaffirmed why the work that you're doing is your life mission? And you have to say names.
Right.
You just say the
To
case.
me, the most important case I have, which is, by the way, I get a lot of people call me, but I take very few cases. The cases I choose are in particular because it's for the greater good. It's going to impact a large swath of people. or more importantly, it's going to make changes, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the case I have are the ones where people are the underdog and the disenfranchised groups. That's the most important cases. Without going into names,
Mm-hmm.
that's the most important cases.
So you do know, previous to us going live, I told you that for me, I believe that you are the Reverend Al Sharpton for policing in New York.
So if you got to
You
go
are,
back at the old soul trains and look at the the pompadour with the thing with James Brown and dancing and stuff. I mean, with the
nah,
tight suit.
nah, you
I
got
saw
it.
him in front of 113 in front of when they had a demonstration out here. Remember when they dragged the doll behind the car? I don't know if you
Yeah,
remember
yeah,
that.
yeah,
And the
yeah.
drug
I
and they were doing
remember.
all up and down Guy Brew when they
Uh-huh.
called New York Boulevard.
Yeah.
He said, "Come on, brother, come join us."
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, you are the Reverend Al. You have to give people their flowers. Any case, any cop that feels like they're slighted in New York City, it's called you. You know, I was giving people your number. People call me all the time. It's like, Eric Sanders? Absolutely. Call him. Call him right now.
But you know what? I'd rather not say I'm the Al Sharpton. The reason why I'm pretty modest, right? People may feel that way, and I do get a lot of phone calls, so I'm not gonna.
Right.
But I see myself as just performing a public service. Really, I mean, I know I get a lot of calls, and I know my fingers on the pulse of a lot of different things.
Yes.
That's what drives Jessica S. Tisch, also known as the Savior Soccer Mom. That's what drives her crazy, the police commissioner, by the way. That's what drives because I know a lot of people and a lot of things,
Yes.
but I never say what I know.
We're gonna get into her. Well, listen, when cops cross the line, what should accountability realistically look like?
Well, I've said this on many times in many years, even with the shooting that happened in Washington, D.C., with Miriam Carey, remember the whole thing with the baby in the car? I said it. There are people in police work that don't belong there.
Right.
It's a job for certain people, but it's
Such
not for everyone.
a bad case, the Miriam Carey case, and no one held accountable.
And but I promised the mother I would find out who shot and killed her, and sure enough, I was getting the information from the Secret Service and the Capitol Police anonymously. So I do know who killed her. And I have the videos from that time period too.
You had Val brought you on to that case.
Yep.
Okay.
Oh yeah, they were really upset with me about that.
Yeah.
Said, "Don't trust the government." They
Yes.
were upset with me. I'm like, "What are you upset about?"
What's the difference between a bad cop narrative and a bad system reality?
The system. Okay, I talk about this on my website now. First of all, if you understand the role of policing, there's two schools of thought. The school of thought that people hear about, the Peel model, the London model, right? Police officers are friendly, they protect and serve, and all this other nonsense. That's the nice scientific version. That's not the concept of policing. The real concept of policing is called the Dutch rattle watches. If you go back this goes back to the Dutch Indian Company, and when they went and took over and
Right.
conquered the world and all this nonsense, that group of people, the real policing started out with the Dutch rattle watch. That's why they call it a rattle. They used to bang the nightstick,
Right.
but they enforced power, money. That's what they did. And if you look at it, that's why you can't solve police corruption. It's all based on corruption. And if you go on my website, I actually pull up the original document that tells you about this. It's called a rattle watch. And the problem is the system can't contain it because the system itself is built on corruption. It'll never fix.
Right.
That's an absolute. Normally, you're not supposed to say, "Oh, never."
No,
It's
I say
absolute.
that all the
But I'm
time.
saying, no, I'm just saying for the public. No, never
Right.
is an absolute in this. You're not fixing it. It just recharacterizes all the time. But it's the same concept. It's built on we want to keep the power class in play. We keep the people who are disenfranchised over there. The minorities, we demonize them. Pop walk and talk. Come up with any program. It's the same target groups all the time.
Right.
Black, Hispanic, black, Hispanic, black, Hispanic. Car stop. I don't care how many times they recharacterize it. It's the same thing. Well, don't do it in a white neighborhood, but they're doing the same thing. They're doing the same exact thing. No different. When especially with the drug stuff, when they used to crack, the cracker, go after them. Remember, they made the crack penalty so much higher. Meanwhile, they're dealing with weight in Whitestone, Queens.
That's right.
In the 109.
Yeah.
On Bayside, in the 111, nice private houses.
Yeah.
That's where the weight is going.
That's
So
right.
it's all bullshit.
Yeah.
They'll never stop corruption because they don't want to. It's built in to control the have and the have-nots.
Right.
Social stratification, they call it.
Right.
If you want to be technical.
I know.
Social stratification.
I know. I saw a lot of crack the white people on Murdoch Avenue and 198th Street
Yeah, come on, man. They should be in all these places.
all the time. They pull up in their nice cars. How many you want?
And
3. Here you go.
and I used to tell them, then you go home, you're talking to dinner till I hate them niggas, this bullshit. Fuck
Uh-huh.
these motherfuckers. Meanwhile, you over here. I said, look at you.
Exactly. All the time. From your perspective, what reforms actually protect good officers?
Probably one of the best things that's come up, and I used to talk about this when I was a police officer, body worn camera.
I love it.
Them,
I
some
love
cops,
it.
they hate it. I love that damn device.
I call it the gift and the curse.
Of course it is.
If you're doing something wrong, you shouldn't want the body camera. But if you're doing something right, that camera can exonerate you.
Oh, yeah. This is exonerating lots of people.
Now, you might get caught, if you're doing something right, and then you might throw an extra hit or something. But we already know the mistake of the heart or the mistake of the mind.
But there's a difference, and that's
It's a
why
difference.
having people evaluate. This is why having like groups that say, "Oh, we want to evaluate." In order for you to evaluate something, you have to understand it. If you don't understand it, how can you evaluate?
Oh, I got a question for you. That's not
so. And the bottom line is they have all these groups evaluating things. Meanwhile, I don't even have a concept of what it is.
Let me ask you this. I'm glad you just brought it up. I just asked Clyde Vanell this last week. Mandami, new mayor coming in. Let's say he want to change the CCRB. I feel like out of the 7, at least 3 should have a law enforcement background. And at least 2 of them got to be cops. Because you just hit it out the park. You need that perspective. If we just have all academia in there, they don't understand and know. Because me and you will look at a video with academia and they say, oh, the cops is wrong. And me and you be like, no, wait.
I got one better than you. This is something that I have regrets for to this day. CCRB used to be part of the police department.
Right.
They used to be part of the police department. Used to be police department personnel evaluating these complaints. And I was one of the people advocating, no, they should have a civilian complaint review board. They could review outside. What a fucking fiasco it's become. It's so political. The cops don't have a chance. They're evaluating shit. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? This is like, what do you think these people out here? I know they come to you saying all these nice, beautiful things. That's not how it works in the field.
Right.
That's why when I hear cops talk, I go, yeah, that happened. Or they tell me this, I go, nah, you full of shit.
Right.
Tell me it again. Because I've been around long enough to know how the game is played.
Exactly.
And the problem is they don't know how to fairly evaluate things. Oh my God, but they teach you to do this. Yes, but that's not the way it works in the field.
Exactly.
Okay? You're going to walk in urine. You're going to deal with all kinds of stuff. Most of the time you're dealing with people. First of all, people see police officers all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But do they know them and interact with them? Very rare.
Very rare.
Maybe a summons, a car stop or something. But for the most part, people see police officers come and go.
Right.
They don't know anything about policing. And then the people evaluating, and most of them are like college graduates, and they're investigators. What the hell you investigate? You don't even understand what you're looking at. Can you imagine if you were investigating bank fraud, and you go, okay, I want to be a fraud investigator for the banking, New York State banking. So what's your background? Oh, I was always interested, and I thought I would contribute. They go, but do you know anything about fraud? No. Then we wouldn't even hire that person. But yet we have them evaluating police officers, which is patently unfair.
Yeah, it is. Why do whistleblowers inside law enforcement sometimes face more retaliation than criminals?
Because you're going against the system. Remember I talked about that? The Dutch rattle watch. The system is built on, the civil service system, if people don't know about it, is called the spoil system. What it boils down to is politicians. You get elected like Mom Dami's doing around. He appoints all his friends, his people. That's the spoil system. At work. People don't call it that, but it's still, you do the history of it.
Right.
So the civil service system was designed to break that. So the first one was the merit and fitness system. Merit and fitness. That's the federal government. That was the first civil service system. And then they went in the states. So the idea was to give equal employment to all people. But that's not the way it works. It's still give it to your friends. So you can't break it. The corruption is always there. It's just recharacterized over and over again.
Right. Okay. Listen, we have a segment.
I call it selective outrage.
Selective outrage.
Yeah, you get upset when it's not your people, but when it's other people, you get upset about it. I write about that too.
Before we go into the heavier stuff, let's go into the Spitfire round where I'm going to ask you some rapid fire questions. You give me yes or no answers or one word answers. You ready?
I think so.
I know you're probably a little familiar with it. I know you're an avid watcher of Corey's Corner, right?
Oh, yeah, I watch it.
Okay. Badge or bar? Which taught you the hardest lesson?
Badge.
Most misunderstood thing about police misconduct cases?
People think the police are wrong all the time, and it's actually false.
I love that answer. One word to describe accountability in America today.
Race.
Harder to confront, silence or corruption?
Corruption.
First instinct when a whistleblower calls you.
Disclose. They trust me.
So they tell you everything.
They tell me all kinds of stuff they never tell anyone else.
But you need to know all of that before you can represent them.
Of course.
Right. You don't want no secrets.
Yeah, I hear about a lot of stuff that will never get out to people. They trust me.
Right. Reform or rebuild? What do we really need?
Destroy.
Oh, I love this guy. Listen, that's what I always say. In order to change the criminal justice system, you need to take an atomic bomb and blow the whole shit up and build it from
The
scratch.
system is built on corruption.
And race.
That's right.
I love it.
Why you think I have on my website, Mr. and Mrs. Dred Scott?
The Dred Scott case, oh, it was one of the
That
most
picture's-
infamous cases.
That picture's on my site every time I change it. That
Give them to
picture
your
stays-
website.
Yeah, I don't like marketing myself. The Sanders Firm PC. See,
That's
I don't-
it.
yeah.
We need it. This was Corey's Corner. We dropping jewels here. This is all jewels. Courtroom or community? Where does change start?
Community. Listen, if people believe that the police and all this stuff can change and stop crime, you smoking dope. The only people that can change things, you need a multi-tier attack. Family, the church, community, the schools, because a lot of this stuff is driven by dysfunction in all those systems. The police can't stop shit. They can only defer people
See?
with omnipresence. Oh, then after they leave, the same shit goes on.
See?
Because you don't build a structure. Social stratification, right?
It's not just me. Y'all think I just be talking shit. Cops, we give them some credit for dropping crime, but
Very little.
there's so many variables into reducing crime. And then when crime goes down, we give all the credit to the cops. And I'm not saying they don't get no credit, but
No, they take it. And you say, okay, so
Right.
tell me what part that you could show there's a correlation between your policy and the impact on crime. Short-term data or longitudinal?
Right.
They can't tell you shit because no one ever questions them about that. Because the
Exactly.
media's too busy protecting them. They did a great job. Yeah, okay.
qualified immunity, necessary or outdated?
Outdated.
Thank you. Oh my God. I swear to you, we didn't have a conversation before we did
Outdated
this.
is very problematic, qualified immunity.
And because for me, qualified immunity, the union's still going to protect them anyway. It's not a big deal.
The problem with qualified immunity is the cops can't really do anything about it. It's the courts where it's the danger. Because more often than not, you're going to go for a federal judge, a magistrate, or a district judge, and the person's going to be white. And 9 times out of 10, they're going to say that either probable cause or arguable probable cause with their own opinion, and then they could kill a jury verdict.
Right.
Way too much power. That takes it away from the jury under the Sixth Amendment. Qualified immunity is garbage.
Justice delayed. Finish this question. Justice delayed is justice.
Just us.
Okay.
You like that,
Last
right?
one.
Just us.
One law you change tomorrow if you could.
I would change qualified immunity.
Thank you for participating in the Spitfire round. I love it. Now, before we jump into the next segment, I want to take a second to talk about something close to my heart. As you all know, I'm an award-winning author with this book, Once a Cop to Street the Law, Two Worlds, One Man. It's a story about my life of a misguided young kid, 15, 16, 17, selling drugs, carrying guns, doing crazy stuff. But I changed my life to become an executive in the biggest police department in the country. And the book was turned into a feature documentary called A Cops and Robbers Story. And you can watch it on Hulu and Apple TV. Thank you for your support for the people that have watched it. And thank you for the support for the people who will watch it later. Now, word from our sponsors.
This is not your average vodka. This is Vodkila, a decade of cultured excellence. The best of both worlds, the true taste of victory. A delicious dyad spirit, the world's finest blend of vodka and tequila. Vodkila, the perfect blend. From rooftop parties to quiet moments with friends, Vodkila brings the flavor, the fire, and the unforgettable. So pour it, share it, live it. Vodkila. Visit vodkila.net and order yours today.
Hello, I'm Dr. Crystal Bonds. Check out Corey's Corner on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts.
You're frequently featured on major networks as a subject matter expert. How do media appearances help the fight for justice, and when do they complicate it?
To me, I only do it for the cases. I generally steer away from legacy media unless it's for the case. Like I'd rather do like podcasts, right?
Right.
Because it reaches the people,
Right.
right? That really want the information. Which happens with legacy media. I mean, it's good to get out to the masses. The problem is you don't control any message. They can edit and
You can't call them like Corey's Corner. You could call me tomorrow and be like, yo, Corey,
yeah.
remember that question from last? Delete that question. You can't do that when you're on NBC.
No, and see, and they can frame things away
Right.
it's not necessarily, and things are taken out of context. So I only
Yes.
do it for the clients. Other than that, I don't do it for any other purpose.
Okay, you speak at law schools and symposiums. What conversations about racial profiling and civil rights is the legal profession still avoiding?
Well, they seem to think that's not a problem,
Yes.
but it's a big problem. I mean, look, I talk about recently with the Floyd case that's still pending after all these years under Bratton and Kelly and these guys. We're still paying millions of dollars to monitor the police department. Car stops are a problem. Summers is a problem. The bicycles, the e-bikes, it's all the same game. It doesn't matter which way they try. After you issue tickets for a while, you know what it's like? It's like a Freudian slip. You say, well, you know what? I can control myself. No, you don't. Subconscious is the one that always drives your ass. You don't know it yet until you see all of a sudden, Sanders wrote 100 summonses, and 80% of them are to Black and Hispanic. How the hell that happen? So, and that's what happens every time you do a study. And I'm like, I don't know what you spend all this money for study for. We could tell you that they profile Black people, and I mean Hispanics. I mean, I like Hispanics, but Black too. That's a whole
Right.
other philosophical study.
Yeah.
The bottom line is, they find it hard to control themselves because of all the stereotypes and things they see on television.
Right.
That you see this unequal enforcement, and it constantly goes on. But then it goes to the history of policing. Back to the Rattle Watch.
Right.
Remember, the first policing agency organized was what? The U.S. Marshal Service. And what were they doing? Bringing the slaves back.
That's right.
Property, right?
Yes.
Okay, so people don't understand. This is the vestiges of slavery, just recycled over and over again. I say that people get upset with me. No, I understand
it's the
what's going
truth.
on.
And that's why I say atomic bomb, blow it up, restart it. But let's get something go close to our heart.
Okay.
NYPD.
Yep.
We both retired NYPD officers.
Yeah.
Recently in the news, big case about Terrell Anderson and the psychological testing, and supposedly 30 officers weren't psychologically evaluated correctly. Police Commissioner Tisch was looking to terminate them. I haven't really followed up on the case, but I know you've been watching it. What's going on with that case at this point right now?
First of all, it's a misnomer. There's no such thing as a police psychological. And I know they talk about it because I went through the process myself. There is no psychological examination. I'm going to tell you why. Because in order for it to be a psychological examination, it has to be forensic in nature. Their examination is not forensic, it's clinical. They have the MMPI, which is the Minnesota Personality Test. They have the California Personality Test, the CPI, and they have one other version. And then they used to do the House Tree Person Test. If you look at it, and then by that, they ask you, they could try to figure out whether you like people, you don't like people. The bottom line is it's subjective. So there's no such thing as a psychological. So what you have in the police department is a very big problem, something that I'm investigating all the way back to the 1980s. You have unlicensed people who call themselves doctor.
Right.
And then they're calling themselves psychologists, and that's actually a felony in the state of New York. And they're doing all these assessments of people, and to no surprise, the majority of people that are being denied are black and Hispanic and female. Those three groups. All right. But there's a big problem. There's something called the Uniform Guidelines for Employee Selection Procedures, also known as the UGESP, from 1978, where the Supreme Court said in Griggs Power, if you're an employer and you're going to give an applicant or employee a test, it has to be objective and business related. That's the short version I give you.
Right.
And it can have a disparate impact on the protected groups: race, national origin, gender, disability, and age. If it does, by definition, it's illegal. The police department has never subjected any of its analysis to the federal test. So it doesn't matter what they did, it's all illegal.
Right.
Including the 30 people. So they're saying Inspector Anderson overturned people. So let's assume for argument he overturned the psychologist. That was illegal. And then what he's doing is illegal too. You know why? Because guess what he's not? He's not a psychologist.
Right.
So he has no right to assess what they did. So beautiful.
But they gave him the power to say, well, his answer is, they said, the job said he could overrule the psychologist. So he's looking at the records after psychologist said Eric Sanders is not qualified. And he goes, why? He looks at it and goes, no, he's qualified. So I'm going to put Eric through.
This is why these people are good for business. Because how do you as an employer give someone authority that you don't have? Right. So now you have him evaluating. He doesn't have a license.
Right.
So he can't tell you. He's giving his subjective opinion. Right. So then they turn around. So what really happened with that case, these 30 people, because I represent Lieutenant Quatisha Epps.
Yes.
And you know the whole thing with the scandal with the rape case and the sodomy in the police headquarters. What they really try to do, Tish, meaning the police commissioner, she wanted to go after everyone connected to Epps, including her nephew and her son.
Right.
So they use this as a pretext. So what they did is they went after these 30 people, and guess who was part of that group? Emilio Andino, which is Epps' nephew. Okay. So she says, "Oh, you just overturn all these people, and I deem them unqualified." Sound like slave master, right? I deem, according to what? According to your rules, they went through the process and they were qualified.
Right.
So she wanted to retroactively disqualify them under civil service law. The problem is that doesn't apply. So what she did is she restricted all these people, had them doing all these administrative tasks, and some of them mopping floors and all that slave nonsense. Had them doing that after the taxpayers, by the way, wasted $200,000 training these people, because people understand when police officers go to the academy, it costs up to $200,000 per employee to train them. There's a cost.
Right.
So that 30 people at $200,000 is $6 million. That's your money they're wasting. So she decides we're going to restrict them. So then I guess one or more lawyers probably convinced her, finally said, you don't have a legal basis for this. And then they had a black female judge who goes, I don't understand what you're doing here, because you qualified and how they disqualified.
Right.
So then the union says, oh, we'll help you out. We'll talk to them. So the 30 people, which a good amount of them I spoke to, I said, you have a lawsuit against them, right?
Right.
So they did some genius the other day. They had them sign a stipulation saying, I will let you stay the police commissioner. It sounds so fucking elitist white people bullshit. I will let you stay if you agree not to sue.
Right.
So they all signed these waivers. And
they
I said,
signed it?
Oh no, it gets better. So I said, these people signed it. I said, you need to learn law school 101, baby. This shit's illegally void. It don't mean a motherfucking thing. You know why? Because there's no consideration. Know what consideration is? There's an even exchange. There is no even exchange.
Right.
I violated your rights, and I'm gonna let you stay so you don't sue me. Get the fuck out of here. They're all legally void. I said, what, you guys come and see me and sue her again.
So now you got a class. You're gonna have a class action.
Yeah, and I got the running thing too, and the hair test.
The running, I know that other podcasts, our buddies over there on the other
I call
podcasts.
them Finance Unfiltered. I call them out. They keep talking about DEI. I said, that's why I keep posting about DEI.
It's not New York. It's not New York.
Hey,
standards.
Listen,
to pass a running test.
But I wrote it and I showed the statute says it's very clear.
Yes.
But this is why they're good for business, because they can't stop with the bias. I love them. I hope they never change. I'm very serious about it. You think I'm kidding about this? Have you noticed I put up a lot of posts about DEI?
Yes.
Oh, you know how the refrigeration? Black guy.
Right.
Those police department radios you have? Black guys.
Right.
Oh, you know the traffic light? Black guy. Your
Uh-huh.
cell phone? Black guy. I said, DEI, baby. Jack Johnson, 73, he busted all the white. Remember him?
1910.
He used to fight them, no gloves,
1910.
73 and old. He used to beat
Yeah.
up the white guys and like this, and then had him a
1910.
nice white woman smoking a cigar.
The map law.
Yeah, the Man Law, the Man Act.
Man Act.
They developed that specifically for him.
Jack Johnson.
You're carrying him across state line for illicit activities.
That's why Puffy's in jail.
I know that.
For
Right.
the Man Act. Jack Johnson, because
So, yeah.
he was screwing white
And
boys.
then he went into jail, wrote his own autobiography, and then came up with the monkey wrench. You can't stop DEI, baby. That's what the problem is. You saying DEI because you're afraid of people. If we weren't good, you wouldn't be doing all this bullshit. They do this to me as a lawyer.
It's funny because let me shout out to John and Eric on Unfiltered. I watched them yesterday. They was talking about this run, and they was like, basketball, those guys are the fastest. Track and field is the fastest.
But you see what he said?
Hold on,
the
but
fastest. That goes back to Jimmy the Greek. Remember? Black people are fast. But
look.
Yeah, I ran mine in 7 minutes. That still doesn't make it legal.
I tweeted both of them. I said, yo, do you realize the 1.5 miles is a marathon? Black people win sprints. Neither one of them text me back. So I need y'all to text me back because black people ain't trying to run no 1.5 miles. But you know, you got 100-yard dash. We kill.
Yeah,
in the Olympics, if you look at the Olympics, the 1.5 miles and 2 miles, who wins?
But those,
white people.
But see,
all the time.
But these are rich.
But who win the 100-yard and the 200?
No, but all that has nothing to do with police work. See, those are all racial tropes.
I know, but I had to let them know.
No, I understand. But what I did is I talk about a standard. Every time that's challenged, Chicago Police Department, the Erie Police Department, the fire departments, every time that's challenged, the court asks the same question. How is this 1.5 mile related to firefighting? You need to carry a Scott air pack. Are you running 1.5 miles? No, you run into a fucking building.
Right.
The police officer, I said I chased someone almost a mile when I was a cop.
Right.
That was one time.
Yeah.
Everything is short spurts.
Exactly.
So that's why they have the JST. I write about this.
Right.
But see, they don't like facts. They like a feeling and emotions. And there's DEI. I say, oh man, because you know we're taking over this bitch.
Right.
It used to be 90% white. Now it's majority minority.
Yes.
It's changing. They can't fight it anymore.
Definitely is.
It's always been the police department. The majority, education-wise, always blacks to this day. That's a fact. That's DEI, baby.
I couldn't wait to ask you this question. What roles does union culture play, for better or worse, when it comes to accountability? Before you answer that, let me look in the camera and say, even with the George Floyd case, I just want one time in America for a police union official to come out and say that the cop was wrong.
And they didn't follow policy.
Right.
It's okay.
It's okay.
I agree.
We literally watched a man lose his life, choked out. And the PBA, the FOP, everybody is still saying, well, let's let the investigation take its course. What course?
But we would.
So tell me about these unions. What role do they play?
Unions were good when we had the shirt factories. We had children working factories and there was no fire codes. That's when unions were useful. Now unions are not useful. They're only good for benefits. That's it. Well, the Supreme Court says you don't even have to be a part of a union. You don't have to pay Jews tech off anymore in 2018. Unions are useless. All they do is siphon money from the membership. They have the delegates act like they're lawyers, and that's why they had to pay off $3 million in Abner Louima's case. Remember, the PBA, the SBA had to pay $3 million because they're playing lawyer all the time.
Right.
And well, I know you don't know shit. All right. The bottom line is the union would go a lot further in building credibility with the public if they would acknowledge that certain people don't belong in the business, or they did something wrong, or they didn't follow policy. There's nothing wrong with that.
It's not wrong.
But they think it's being anti-cop. No, it's not. It's being pro-cop. Matter of fact, people forget, and this is where cops get it wrong too. And I used to talk about this when I was still a police officer. I said, you do understand that we don't really run anything. You know that, right?
Mm-hmm.
The community runs everything.
Right.
They allow us to police
Mm-hmm.
because anytime they turn on us, we're in fucking trouble. Remember that. Because they could pot shot us from roofs, windows, and everything. There's no way you can protect ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be dead. So you have to understand that you are part of the community because you're a necessary evil, because they're trying to protect themselves from the baddest ones.
Right.
And then you don't even act like you want to be with them. You look at them all bad. No, they're not bad because they're poor, disenfranchised, or economically deprived. No. So the unions could help, but they're useless.
For the young people, especially the marginalized communities, what advice would you give them considering careers in law enforcement? But so I'm constantly telling young black and brown kids, I can't convince my sons that's old enough to be cops. They don't want, they're like, Daddy, I don't want to be no cop. And you know why they say that? Not because, they silver spoon kids. They don't have no interactions, but what they hear from their cousins, their friends, what they see on TV, they don't want to be cops. How are we going to get these numbers up? And what do we tell these kids in marginalized communities?
And that's when I go back to Dred Scott. All right. Remember, we may be in slavery if it wasn't for Mr. and Mrs. Dred Scott. Remember, in 1845,
Yes.
they were born free.
Yes.
They were born free, according to the state law.
Mm-hmm.
So at that time, you didn't have black lawyers. You had white lawyers. So they had to go get themselves a white lawyer who had to petition for them. Actually, I went to St. Louis for...
I was getting ready to say, was that in St. Louis where I saw the
Missouri.
statue? With Dred Scott's statues in St. Louis.
And now you understand my philosophy. Now you understand why it's always on my website. So if you look at it, you already know he's not dancing, shuffling. He's black. He's not afraid to be black.
And you know what I learned about St. Louis, which you know?
Mm-hmm.
That's the only police department that I know in America got a black union and a white union. That is amazing to me.
Yep, that's true.
They got a black union and a white union.
I know, it's wild, right?
That's crazy, right?
It's crazy.
You heard it on Corey's Corner, St. Louis Police Department. And I tell, can you imagine the NYPD cops, all the black cops, start your own union?
Yeah, they could theoretically do it.
They can. Why not? They did it in St. Louis.
They did it in St. Louis. But getting back to Dred Scott, and if you see the handwritten petition, I went there and I saw the whole display. And what it boiled down to is that they were willing to challenge.
Hold on, wait.
Yeah.
Where that statue is, it's in front of the courthouse?
Oh, yeah, the old courthouse is still there.
So when I saw that statue, that's in front of the courthouse, actually where Dred Scott case was?
The old courthouse is still there.
Wow.
It's not too far away. You see the arch, the famous St. Louis arch?
Right.
You can look right across and see it there. It's the old, nice-looking old courthouse. That's where it all went down.
Wow.
They had the petitions written in pencil.
Yeah.
And that's the famous Supreme Court case, the famous badly decided Supreme Court case. Because basically what they said in Tierney, who was the judge, says,
yes,
yeah, I know they were born free, but that law doesn't apply to them because you know what? We're white men and we could use them for our purpose and blah, blah, blah. That's what he said. That was the worst decision ever in the Supreme Court history. They just completely ignored the law and just went by, we're white and we can do anything we want to do. But if it wasn't for them trying, that's the prelude to all the civil rights. Because remember, then it was 1861. And then all the civil rights stuff started happening, 1866, 1871.
Right.
And that's all from Lincoln and the Civil War, which, by the way, they said, we can thank Lincoln. No, he's trying to save his son. He wasn't trying to do anything other than that. But it was a prelude to our fight for freedom.
If a young officer is listening right now, what would you tell him or her about integrity?
Don't ever sell yourself out to anybody. That was my problem. I would never do it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, people ask me, so you're just a police officer? I say, I could have been a damn commissioner if I wanted to, because I knew this stuff like the back of my hand.
Right.
But I was so busy fighting them all the time. And I like being a street cop. I thought there was a role for the street cop to play, because the street cop, you can have all the managers you want, but where it's at is on the street.
No, but I tell cops all of that. I tell them that all the time.
Mm-hmm.
You are a boss. You got to understand when you get to the scene.
Yep.
This is life and death situation.
That's right.
You giving people answers. I understand you got sergeants, lieutenant, captains, chiefs, all of that. But you are a boss.
You using discretion.
Right.
You can control how things are going to go. You can give people a slide. There's all kinds of stuff. And that discretion you have is a powerful tool. Just because you have a sledgehammer doesn't mean you have to use it all the time.
And police officers are the gatekeepers of the criminal justice system.
Yeah, and what people don't understand, that you have a lot of people that they appear to be violent and all these different things, and they're really just afraid. They're just afraid. They're afraid because they're in environments where they're not thriving or feel like they can thrive. So it's more complex than what you see.
Right. How do you sustain yourself mentally and emotionally while constantly confronting injustice, trauma, and resistance?
Oh, let's see. I play my Xbox. You know,
No PlayStation?
no, I
Oh,
should
my
get that
son,
one.
I
I haven't
hate
had
you.
one. So yeah, I mean, I, I kind of know that it comes with the territory because if you
Hmm.
look at the history of civil rights
Have you
people,
ever been threatened in your
oh yeah,
life?
that's happened to me before. Oh yeah, I've had someone threaten me, and it's funny because even when you retire, even internal affairs and stuff contact you about certain things. I was contacted by internal affairs and the Commission to Combat Police Corruption. They said, "Hey, there's a guy on the is it? I don't know if he was doing on Twitter or Instagram. He was threatening me and says I'm gonna kill that Eric Sanders." I said, "He's gonna kill me?" I said, "They forget who they dealing with." I said, "I'll go in my safe and get my cig." And I go to Staten Island and I put a bullet in his head. Oh no, 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 Eric, don't do that. Next thing you know, they arrested him. So he was arrested because he threatened me, Campese, Resnick, as a bunch of people he had on a
Okay.
hit list.
Oh, okay.
I don't play. I mean, I'm a nice guy, but don't play with me. I don't play games.
Right. We not.
Mm-mm.
When you look ahead, what does real accountability look like to you, and how close do you believe we truly are?
As accountability for who though?
Accountability as police officers, law enforcement personnel.
I think the only way to clean up the police department and police in general has to be done within. It can't be done from outsiders. It's
Right.
just like any other culture. The police department is people think it's a closed culture. This is probably the most closed culture I ever seen. Even
Okay.
more closed than lawyers and judges. Nah,
Mm-hmm.
police officers are closed culture, baby. You're not getting that. People think fraternities and sororities. Yeah, yeah. This is a closed culture.
Right.
They don't go too much outside their culture.
Mm-hmm.
And the only way it's going to change and it's going to have to come from people that are conscious that are in there. That's
Mm-hmm.
why we need more people of color, more diversity to come in to help change it. So
Right.
that's why I encourage people to join the police department.
Before we wrap, is there anything you'd like to share that we haven't covered?
No, just people need to understand that it's a fight. It's not a fight of the police necessary.
Right.
It's you're talking about changing systems. And the police is just one part of the system.
Mm-hmm.
And it goes into economic wealth, jobs, and all these other things. If you could change all of that, we would go further along and just concentrate on the police. Oh, the police, the police, the police. They
Right.
get you so focused on the damn police, you forget that we can become educated.
Right.
You can navigate systems if you do certain things. They
Mm-hmm.
want you to focus on the police
Right.
because then you want to fight everybody. Good, they got a place for you.
Oh yeah, they got a place and there's a
You
lot of beds.
and then all you're doing is taking advantage of your own people.
Right.
All the time that we spend fighting all that stuff, we could become educated, start a business. You're on your phone all the time. Guess what? Use AI, start a damn business.
Right.
That is more power. Look at Black Wall Street in these areas. That's why they always try to kill them off
Right.
because those are the people in the neighborhoods, and the people who are powerful are the ones they always trying to destroy because they're not dancing and having a chicken bone and all that bullshit. That's what they want us to do. You ever
Mhm.
notice the neighborhoods they have fried foods, sugar? I did a paper on this as an undergrad. The liquor, everything in the neighborhoods. Yeah, we having a
Liquor,
good time.
Chinese store, laundromat.
And women, they always have to look sexy. Oh, I look sexy. That ain't getting us nowhere. If
No.
we change that, we go a lot further than concentrating on the damn police.
Let the people know where they can find you, your social media.
Okay, they can find me on X under Esquire_Sanders. I also have a YouTube channel that the Sanders Firm PC, and I talk about a lot of legal stuff about Article 78, all that kind of stuff. But I really do a lot of writing on my blog. You can find a lot of free stuff there. There's all kinds of stuff, sexual harassment,
Mhm.
1983 stuff, which is when they violate your state rights. All those things, they're on there for free because I believe information is power. Don't just hire a lawyer just because.
Right.
And give black lawyers a chance. I know people don't give black lawyers a chance, but give black lawyers a chance.
I love it. Today's conversation reminds us that accountability isn't anti-police; it's pro-justice.
Hmm.
Real change takes courage from those inside the system and protection for those brave enough to speak out. Eric Sanders, thank you for your fearless advocacy and unwavering commitment to justice. We appreciate you joining us on Corey's Corner.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. For our listeners, if you found value in today's episode, please follow, subscribe, and support. This has been another episode of Corey's Corner. Until next time, keep pushing, keep grinding, and remember, it's not about where you start. It's always about where you finish. I'm Corey Pegues, and I always keep it right, not real. Peace.
Special thanks to our executive producer, our engineers, and much respect to Corrupt Mob for making Corey's Corner possible.
Once a cop, let it knock, yeah. I for one thing we should celebrate redemption instead of condemning it. Corey Pegues, up, talking truth, bruh. Check it out. Once a cop.